that are enshrined in the Bill of Rights. So you don't get the presumption of innocence. You don't have to be found guilty before we punish you and take your money. And all of those sorts of things. So that's how we get civil asset forfeiture and so forth. And so the EPA has been a big part of that game. Scott Pruitt, a great pick by President Trump, perhaps the best pick, the best decision that President Trump has made is Scott Pruitt. He says, we will no longer go behind closed doors and use consent decrees and settlement agreements to resolve lawsuits filed against the agency by special interest groups who are doing so would circumvent the regulatory process set forth by Congress. What is sue and settle? In short, it's a way that politicians and bureaucrats shift policy by pretending to be in a legal fight with a political ally and then altering a specific rule to supposedly avoid a lawsuit. This has been exposed by FreedomWorks and others, reported by WND. But on the other hand, now that's a great pick that President Trump has put in, Scott Pruitt. But when we look at the IRS, just the opposite. The Justice Department under Jeff Sessions has chosen not to pursue the IRS agents who politicized the agency when they went after Tea Party groups and when they destroyed evidence. Obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence. That is a crime that in most cases is more serious than what was being investigated. But no, we're not going to go after Lois Lerner, and we're not going to go after Koskinen, who is that was Obama's head of the IRS. He is still there. He hasn't been replaced. And that's what we're saying. You're going to leave these Obama holdovers in place, and you're going to get Obama policy. And it's very visible here at the IRS. Remember one of the first things that President Trump did? He sent an executive order in and said, I don't want the IRS to punish people if they don't get Obamacare. So that was a request from President Trump, which the imperial bureaucracy says, no, we don't care. We're actually going to double it down. We are not going to even accept tax returns that don't have Obamacare disclosures in them, because Obama's IRS head is going to push Obama's legacy of socialism on us. The IRS says it will not accept electronic tax returns that do not disclose whether the filer had health insurance coverage during the year. It also says it will suspend paper returns that do not have the disclosure. The IRS's move will bolster compliance with the Affordable Care Act, even as the Trump administration is trying to undercut the law. So you have to understand the imperial bureaucracy that we have here. And if you don't get rid of the imperial bureaucracy, and if you don't get rid of these Obama holdovers, like the current IRS chief, then they will subvert everything that President Trump does. Typically, it's stopped by a federal judge who is an Obama appointee, as we've seen over and over again with the immigration rules that he has. Nobody ever questioned Obama's open border rules that were done illegally, but when that is overturned by President Trump, then that's got to be shut down, and they do it over and over again. But it's also the people that he leaves in place in charge of the IRS. Here's something else that was left in place. That's the war in Afghanistan. What does it mean to win? Well, I'll tell you what it means to lose. It means that you got an Afghan army base that is totally destroyed by Taliban suicide bombers. They weaponized U.S. Army Humvees, which is going to make it more difficult for the U.S. to work with these guys, because that was the very weapon that was used against them. Killed everyone at the base, razed it to the ground. Is that what winning looks like? What is the objective anyway? This is just one battle, but what is the objective?
You deserve a deep, restful sleep with Knockout by InfoWars Life. Our organic formula is made from high-quality natural ingredients such as valerian root extract, L-tryptophan, lemon balm leaf extract, and melatonin. Knockout packs a powerful punch to get you through the night and achieve proper sleep. Millions of people around the world experience daytime drowsiness, but with the rapid speed of life, we need to be able to keep up the pace. Our natural mixture harnesses the power of 10 known ingredients to let your body relax and get the sleep you need. Wake up refreshed and take on the day. InfoWars Life wants to bring you a sleep support formula that goes above and beyond other leading brands at an affordable price. Get the sleep you deserve and experience the power of Knockout. Head on over to InfoWarsLife.com and say goodbye to fatigue. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Of the highest quality, InfoWars, Biome Defense, Probiotic. We wanted to come out with the largest spectrum of high quality, known probiotics that have been proven to improve overall digestion and health and detoxification in the body. Biome Defense is an exclusive blend of 50 billion live and active cultures from over 23 different probiotic strains that are known to support digestion and intestinal function. Our researchers are confident that we have been able to develop what will be the leading probiotic on the market. Secure your Biome Defense in ultra strength or regular strength at InfoWarsLife.com today and get started supporting your digestive system naturally. We've been testing this formula for years, but this is the limited first run to the public, so please take advantage of it today. Support your own health and support the InfoWar. Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, to the lining of plastics to destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands. At InfoWarsLife.com with next level online.
Vitality has now been reduced by 30%. 30% off Super Male Vitality, 50% off Anthroplex, and we have 50% off Brain Force Plus. This is going to be stopped at the end of the week before we run out of stock, because we have to hold stuff behind, and these are some of our most popular products. We have to hold stuff behind for people who sign up for auto ship. And of course, if you sign up for AutoShip, you can get 10% off and free shipping if your order totals more than $50. So that's something you may want to think about. Also, we have several very important supplements. Our iodine, our selenium, and our B12 supplements are all 40% off. Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine, 40% off. BioTrue Selenium, 100% organic selenium, no fillers, no synthetics, 40% off. And Secret 12, our vitamin B12 formula that you can take orally instead of taking your B12 with an injection, that is also 40% off. And finally, we have 20% off InfoWars Wake Up America coffee. Just enter the code WAKEUP at checkout to get 20% off InfoWars Wake Up America, in either the original Patriot Blend or the Immune Support Blend. All right, let's go back to this press conference. We had General Kelly yesterday really lay out this entire process. He spoke very passionately for about 18 minutes, so we're not going to play all of that for you. But I can tell you that what he did was he began by talking about the process that happens after a soldier is killed in a location, the preparing of the body, the transporting of the body, and then informing the family, or as he put it, breaking their hearts. So
to take the phone call. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So a pre-call is made. The President of the United States or the Commandant of the Marine Corps or someone would like to call. Will you accept the call? And typically they all accept the call. So he called 4 people the other day and expressed his condolences in the best way that he could. And he said to me, what do I say? I said to him, sir, there's nothing you can do to lighten the burden on these families. But let me tell you what I tell him. Let me tell you what my best friend, Joe Dunford, told me, as he was my casualty officer. He said, Kel, he was doing exactly what he wanted to do when he was killed. He knew what he was getting into by joining that 1%. He knew what the possibilities were because we're at war. And when he died, in the 4 cases we're talking about, Niger, my son's case in Afghanistan, when he died, he was surrounded by the best men on this earth, his friends. That's what the president tried to say to 4 families the other day. I was stunned when I came to work yesterday morning and brokenhearted at what I saw a member of Congress doing. A member of Congress who listened in on a phone call from the President of the United States to a young wife, and in his way tried to express that opinion. He's a brave man, a fallen hero. He knew what he was getting himself into because he enlisted. There's no reason to enlist. He enlisted. And he was where he wanted to be, exactly where he wanted to be, with exactly the people he wanted to be with when his life was taken. That was the message. That was the message that was transmitted. It stuns me that a member of Congress would have listened in on that conversation. Absolutely stuns me. And I thought that might be sacred. And when I listened to this woman and what she was saying and what she was doing on TV, the only thing I could do to collect my thoughts was to go and walk among the finest men and women on this earth. And you can always find them because they're in Arlington National Cemetery. Went over there for an hour and a half. Walked among the stones, some of whom I put there because they were doing what I told them to do when they were killed.
All right, that was General Kelly. It was a very powerful 18 minutes. You only heard a little bit of that right there. But I want to play for you Congresswoman Frederica S. Wilson. And I want to ask you who you think is more credible. Here's Frederica S. Wilson.
I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
Yeah, okay, she's a rock star now. And her response to General Kelly, former General Kelly's criticism of her, was to come back and say, General Kelly will say anything to keep his job. Do you think she'd say anything to keep her job? Do you think she would say anything to get attention? Do you think she would wear anything to get attention? The hats, the costumes that she wears, every time you look at her, she's got some absurd hat on, some absurd cowboy hat on. Will she do anything to draw attention to herself? One of the things that General Kelly said as he was talking about that, he was talking about the dedication of an FBI building. It was dedicated to 2 FBI officers who had died in the line of duty. And there were 3 others who had been wounded in that incident that were there in attendance. He said Comey dedicated it. It was a very moving ceremony that was dedicated to people who gave their lives trying to protect other people. And he said there was a congresswoman who got up and said, well, I'm the one who made this building possible. I made the call. I got the money. I. How many times have we heard that from Obama? Remember all the speeches that Obama had? I. When he counted up the number of times he talks about himself. That congresswoman at the dedication of that FBI building, instead of honoring the people that were being honored at that dedication where they named the building after them, instead, she makes it all about herself and the money that she got. Of course, that wasn't her money. That was taxpayer money, or money that will be paid back by taxpayers who have borrowed it. Nevertheless, it was all about her and her phone call because that's the way these people operate. Who do you think is more credible? General Kelly, President Trump, or Frederica S. Wilson in her cowboy hat, looking for attention, who will say anything to keep her job in Congress, to get her little 15 minutes of fame? Absolutely despicable individual, and Congress is full of people like that. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I'm David Knight.
Vitamin Mineral Fusion. Visit InfoWarsLife.com to secure your chemistry. We have worked for years with our chemists and scientists to create the most powerful and affordable, great-tasting multivitamin formula available. Vitamin Mineral Fusion Drink Mix at InfoWarsLife.com. It'll end around.
It's about using this law.
Shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support. Live from Austin, Texas, it's David Knight.
There's no perfect way to make that phone call. That's what General Kelly told President Trump. As they were talking about it, President Trump said, well, as he lays out in the discussion of this, he said, we talked about this, and President Trump asked him if he should make the phone call. And he said, well, all presidents send letters, but not all presidents send phone calls. As a matter of fact, if it's a lot of heavy action and there's a lot of casualties, it's not possible for the president to make those phone calls. And he said,
Straight for 8 minutes to I-5 South, Los Angeles.
If you've never worn the uniform, if you've never been in combat, you can't even imagine how to make that call. But he said, I think he very bravely did make the calls. And he talked about how they discussed it, what he should say, and so forth. And General Kelly said, the things that are important to the families are the phone calls that they get from the people who knew the soldier, who worked with the soldier in the field, the people who really knew him. He said the calls that they get from generals, the calls that they get from presidents, that doesn't really make that much difference to him, but he wanted to do it anyway. President Trump wanted to do it anyway. And when they have, as I mentioned before, they have somebody who shows up before dawn, and they wait until the first lights come on in the house, and then they go in. And they stay with them through the whole process until the soldier is buried. That's the officer that stays with them. And if there is a general or a president who wants to make a phone call and reach out and touch them individually, they don't just call them. They ask the family if they would like to take that call. He says usually they say yes. Now, I think the interesting thing that is coming out is the fact that not only did this family say yes, but this family called the congresswoman. The congresswoman then was there, not just family members, but the congresswoman came there. So this was politicized from the very beginning, politicized by the family. They call a congresswoman who is adamantly opposed to President Trump. Come listen to this phone call. Let's see if we can get something out of it. And of course, what the president said was what General Kelly said others had told him when his son died. They chose to do this. I said this yesterday. I said, that's why they call them heroes. Because if you choose to do something knowing that you're going to, that it may cost you your life. If you're a fireman who's running into a burning building and you lose your life because you're trying to save other people, that's a heroic act. Look at the Vegas shooting again. The very first revision of the Las Vegas script that was put out there by the Las Vegas Police Department, the first write of the script said that we had Jesus Campos come in at the very end and stop the shooting and got shot himself. Then they changed it and put him at the very beginning. And so revision 2 of the script says that he comes in and he doesn't know what's going on, as he told Ellen on their scripted performance. He said, I didn't know what was going on, and he just got shot. I mean, that's not a heroic act. They're still calling him a hero, but he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He didn't sign up for anything. As a matter of fact, we don't even know how he came to be an employee of a contractor who works for MGM. We don't even know anything about that contractor. There's some very curious things about that contractor. The license that they let expire, the virtual address that they have there. So we don't know anything about the man. We don't know anything about the company, about the relationship with MGM. And then in the final revision that they go with, he just shows up. That's not an act of heroism. That's just, he's a victim. If he gets shot, he's a victim. He didn't show up to shut anything down. He didn't go into the raging guns after this guy had been, whoever was in there shooting people. He didn't run up there to stop it and get shot in the process. But that's typically what does happen with the military individuals. And so that was what was the background for that. And I think that's very important to look at it. And clearly, we understand what Frederica Wilson is in it for. Let's play that clip again. She'll explain it to us. Can you pull up that clip of when I were...
I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
She's a rock star now. She's a rock star now. And after General Kelly gave that very long, touching story about what happens to families like his when they have somebody die as a soldier, gave a very detailed account of that. She just dismissed it, saying, he'll say anything to keep his job. I think she'll say anything. Here's somebody else who'll say anything. George W. Bush. And he was saying a lot yesterday. Trump, chip off the old CIA block. And also Obama, also a chip off the old CIA block. Let me just digress here a moment and say the overthrow of ISIS in their capital of Raqqa. Their headquarters, their caliphate headquarters. Yes, I know it's not mission accomplished. We're not going to go that far. But there have been some major setbacks with ISIS. And those came just a few months after President Trump stopped the arms shipping of CIA to the quote-unquote moderate rebels in Syria, isn't it? Interesting how the CIA, as soon as you stop the CIA from injecting arms into ISIS, that somehow they start losing on the battlefield. Interesting, isn't it? But let's go back to these other CIA operatives, George Bush and Barack Obama. Because Barack Obama, his grandparents who raised him, they were some of the founders of the CIA. They were with the original OSS. And then we know...
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
George W. Bush, all their backgrounds with the CIA are not really hidden. Well, some of it is. I mean, they don't talk about George H.W. Bush's involvement in the Bay of Pigs because that was a failure. So they kind of covered that up. But yeah, he was there from the very beginning. Who knows? Maybe he had something to do with Dealey Plaza as well. But George W. Bush comes out and says, this nativism, we just cannot wish globalism away. And, quite frankly, I agree with him on that. We cannot wish it away. We cannot wish bad things like globalism away. We have to fight globalism. We have to fight it like our lives depend upon it, because our lives do. And the lives of our children depend on us being able to fight away this globalism that people like the CIA operatives like George W. Bush and Barack Obama have given us. Let's play a little bit of a clip that we have here. This is some of the interesting comments that George W. Bush made yesterday as he attacked President Trump.
We must hear and help them, but we cannot wish globalization away.
A new world order.
Our security and prosperity are only found in wise, sustained global engagement.
A new world order.
We've seen nationalism distorted into nativism. We've forgotten the dynamism that immigration has always brought to America.
A new world order.
Bigotry seems emboldened. our politics seems more vulnerable to conspiracy theories and outright fabrication. There are some signs that the intensity of support for democracy itself has waned, especially among the young.
Yeah, he's worried about those vulnerable to conspiracy theories. Who do you think would be the most vulnerable to a conspiracy theory? Let's not talk about what Marvin Bush's brother was doing. You know, he's head of security at the World Trade Towers until September the 10th, 2011. And then he just suddenly got a new job, so he wasn't around when everything came collapsing straight down into his footprint. But when he talks about our own identity and having a commitment to global engagement, and he means that he defines our identity. He says, we're not determined like other nations. We're not determined by geography. Nah, borders don't matter. We're not determined by ethnicity or by soil or by blood. Being American involves the embrace of high ideals. What kind of high ideals are those, W? Well, that's the ideals of globalism. He doesn't lay them out at that point, but that's what he's talking about. Those high ideals are what he talked about, our identity. Earlier, he said we have to recover our identity. So what are the high ideals of George Bush? You think I'm putting words in his mouth when I say that we have to embrace globalism, when he says we have to embrace high ideals? Here's what he talks about. Our identity is a commitment to global engagement, to open trade, free trade, and international trade and immigration. Now, what he is saying is that the trade should be controlled by globalist organization. And what he's saying when he talks about immigration, he's talking about uncontrolled, illegal immigration with totally open borders. And that is basically invasion. It is people replacement. They're replacing our nation, and that's what he is about. We'll have more about this when we come back. Stay with us.
Choose to take control of your chemistry with Survival Shield X2 and BioTrue Selenium. This powerful combo is perfect for supporting your thyroid and health. BioTrue Selenium's formula is far from synthetic and is made from a source of 100% organic mustard seed. Our super high-quality nascent iodine is an essential mineral sourced of 99.99% ultra-pure, deep earth iodine crystals. This essential mineral is necessary.
Watch out, object on road ahead.
Every cell, tissue,
Half a
and
mile.
in the body with inadequate
Stay to the
thyroid
left to
may
I-5
experience
South,
metabolism,
Los
weight
Angeles.
gain, and overall brain fog. Survival Shield X2 and BioTrue Selenium work together to support the systems in your body. Take control of your chemistry today with this super combo. Discover the power of Survival Shield X2 and BioTrue Selenium at InfoWarsLife.com.
Please listen carefully, because I'm about to point out 3 things that will save you a lot of money while you get high-quality products and fund the InfoWar. A 360 win. Number 1, when you choose AutoShip before checkout, we give you 10% off.
Stay to the left to I-5 South, Los Angeles.
When you sign up for AutoShip, because we hold back the surplus for AutoShip customers. Number 3, we're giving you free shipping on all orders above $50. Listeners have been requesting this for years because it's so easy to forget to reorder the products that you need each month. Just go to InfoWarsStore.com, select your favorite product or products, click on AutoShip, and choose how often you want to
Continue straight for 25 minutes to exit 138 Stadium Way.
This is a sure win. 10% off on AutoShip. Win, win, win at InfoWarsLife.com. Free shipping on orders above $50. And all out-of-stock items are never out of stock when you sign up for AutoShip.
Continue straight for 25 minutes to exit 138 Stadium Way.
still maintain its nutrition and flavor. That's right. Now's the time to build your own food storage. Value.
Getting out your day living defense.
That Trump represents. I'm David Knight. We're going to get to more of what was said by these 2 individuals who are not 2 former presidents from both parties, as Business Insider points out. 2 former presidents from both parties blast the state of American politics in an unprecedented day. Well, actually, there's not 2 parties, are there? They're both representatives of the one party in Washington, the deep state party, the CIA, military-industrial complex, the entrenched permanent bureaucracy. They're both presidents of that party. And so what they're upset about is that they don't want to see